the way I like to look at it, and you've probably heard a lot about it, is, it's not a matter of how long you live. It's more important to live as long as you can healthily, and then, put off all these chronic diseases and stuff like this for as long as possible. And then when that eventually happens, just crash and burn really fast. and so,
Right.
and so that's what healthspan is all about. Healthspan is basically the time in your life when you're relatively healthy, before everything starts, the wheels come off.
Got a lot of love, yeah, that's for sure. Got music and movies, and friends and medicine. Yeah, is the show for me and you, the one you love to listen to. And ooh, you got your friends, see it through. See, 'cause laughter is medicine too. Said it's medicine too, babe.
Welcome to The Ed Show, brought to you by the Relevant app. The opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of A-Edge Productions. I'm your co-host, Branden Lee, and look who it is. It's Wendy Love Edge.
Hey, we don't dispense medical advice, and all your health choices are your own. This show is called How Can We Age Well? So how are you doing, Branden? Have you been aging since I've been away?
I feel like I have been aging, as I haven't seen you in forever. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you. It's great to see you as well.
Yeah,
And,
we are also obviously talking about health and lifestyle, and I can't help but notice how you look great. Like you've lost weight. I was like, is it just because I hadn't seen you in a while? But no, some of your health choices have definitely been fruitful.
They really have. I have been going through some health stuff and learned that I may need some medical attention. I don't know, about a month ago or so. And so I kind of saw it coming, because through the pandemic, this whole season, we've been talking about our health plan, our wellness plan. Are we staying with it? And I've tried, but it's been up and down. It's been difficult for me. And it really came full force that, yeah, I needed to really stick to it. And so I made some big changes, started doing some intermittent fasting, cut out completely any sugar, white flour, carbs actually, and what else? Dairy as well.
Yeah.
And just really, cooking vegetables, eating a little fruit and protein, and really getting to walking every day, which is huge. We'll find out later in the show when we talk with Jim Jensen. It's probably the single most thing you can do. I know you feel that way too, don't you?
Yes. I mean, just getting out there and walking and knowing that you're doing it to benefit the health of not just your body, but your mind. Clearing your mind is a big part about losing weight and being in a healthy lifestyle in general. Is just being able to, collect your thoughts and walk, and your heartbeat is beating faster than what it would be, almost twice as fast as it would be if you're just sitting on a couch.
But, when we're talking about aging today and aging well, and really, if you don't have your health, how can you possibly live well into your old age?
Yeah, you have a great point. And some people, like, I'll admit it, I'm 40 years old. So it's great to get those compliments of like, wow, you're 40. I'm like, yes, but I am. There are things that I like to do, like outdoor activities, like wake surf and one wheel, And I was thinking to myself the other day, was right, and I'm like, not every 40-year-old can do this. You know, there are not people that there are people that are just haven't chosen that life to be able to be that active, and that may come back to haunt me or them. But when you're
Right.
wanting that lifestyle, you have to work for it, and you have to make sure that your body is prepared for things like that. And
You
so,
really do. And so when we talk about anti-aging, right? I'm picture like people, shooting some Botox, going to get a
you're right.
facelift, putting some creams on, right?
Yeah.
But anti-aging is really all the stuff we're talking about, exercise, nutrition, sleep, cardio. We didn't talk about it with Jim Jensen today, but he talks about sauna, dry sauna.
Yeah.
It's really has a lot of health benefits. So there's a lot of things that you can do that are so-called anti-aging.
Yeah.
that
Have
are
you
healthy.
ever done this thing where, like, I mean, we're older here, like, we've had those days where you feel so old, like maybe you have a lazy weekend or you drank a lot over the weekend or something, or you smoked a lot, for all those people that smoke just a bunch, and you're
Right.
just a potato, and and you feel so much older. And then, I'll tell these people that are a lot younger, if you're younger, you'll have these waves of days where you feel like you're 16, but then there's
Mhm.
days where you feel like you're 80, and
Yes.
your bones, you feel like you're fall apart, your joints hurt, your back hurts, you just wake up like this,
Right.
and
Well, listen,
it's just it kind of topsy and turvy sometimes.
right. I mean, I'm 57 and I have all these health conditions, and I often wake up that way. But when I'm taking care of myself and doing the things that make it better, my attitude is better, and I can do it more than on the days that I give into it, right? So we're all fighting different things. Some people have more than others as their burden, for their health, for a number of reasons, through no fault of their own. Most of the time could be genetic issues, or you just you dealt this bad genetic hand and you're like,
Yeah.
well, this is what I got. But
Yep.
you got to make the best of it, and that's the best way to stay young, I think.
I definitely think it has to do with what you're eating. I can have a great example. I have a friend that has a dog that all she does is feed it the nicest dog food. She
Mhm,
makes it on the stove with
mhm.
organic meats and vegetables and rice and grains and blueberries and all those things mixed up, and that's what she feeds her dog. And the dog's almost 7 years old, 6 years old,
Uh-huh.
and just starting to get gray hair. And
Wow.
we brought this dog around another dog that is the same age that is just eating dog food, and it's
Like night and
baffling,
day. Mhm.
night and day. And we're talking about aging gracefully today, and put what you put in your body is what you're going to get out of it. And so, I mean, years of being in my 20s and eating anything of ramen and chicken nuggets and all the things, I love that stuff, but you do
Mhm.
realize that that does become you. And so when you start
Right.
eating healthy, I think you really do feel it. You feel it in your day-to-day routines, in your
Yes.
attitude, and just in your lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the fuel.
It is.
So a lot of it is in your own hands, and if you want to age well and into your later years, enjoy the things that you really enjoy, then it's really your choice, and that's what the show's about today. So coming up next, my interview with Jim Jensen. A trainer and expert on aging, my guest today is Jim Jensen, author of The 10 Most Powerful Habits. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
I'm so delighted to be with you. I read your mission, which I'm going to read right now, and it just really warmed my heart. So his mission is to empower everyone to enjoy life to their fullest, regardless of their physical challenges. That's so important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, almost everybody has some kind of a physical challenge, one way or another. So, and some a lot more than others.
Right, right. Very good point. I think sometimes people who have larger challenges kind of forget that, not we're all kind of imperfect and struggling with something, right? Um, so my first question for you is this. Many people will say, well, I know people who live to be 100 and they eat whatever they want, they drink alcohol, they smoke, or also I hear people say, well, I'm getting older, I'm just going to eat what I want because I want to enjoy my life. What do you say to those people, and can we really affect our aging in a positive way?
Oh, geez, absolutely. I mean, I based my life on that for over 20 years. What I always say, in fact, I use that same argument with some people live to be over 100 and to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. It's numbers. You're looking at statistics. What are your odds? What are your odds of getting cancer in your 50s or 60s? Well, if you're smoking cigarettes, it's a lot higher. It doesn't mean you're going to, but the odds are that you're in a lot more risk, and you just multiply that by many other bad, unhealthy habits, and it just increases your chances of having some kind of a chronic issue come up that is life-changing. And yes, you definitely can make big changes to your life. I think the way I like to look at it, and you've probably heard a lot about it, is it's not a matter of how long you live. It's more important to live as long as you can healthily, and then put off all these chronic diseases and stuff like this for as long as possible. And then when that eventually happens, just crash and burn really fast. and so
Right.
and so that's what healthspan is all about. Healthspan is basically the time in your life when you were relatively healthy, before everything starts, the wheels come off. And so that's where we really have a lot of influence on how long your health span is. You can, through just different lifestyle habits. That's why I wrote the 10 most powerful health habits, is because it's doesn't have to be, well, I have to run a mile every other day or something like that. There's certain things that have an immense effect on your health span that everybody can address and improve. And like within my book, by far number one, it's your prime directive in life. There's nothing more important than the health habit number one, and that is obtaining regular quality sleep on a regular basis. And that has to be your top priority. You need to develop good sleep habits. I have a PDF. If you go to my website, I have a PDF with all the habits that would help you to attain that, free, of course.
So I know another one of the healthy habits has to do with exercise. Yep. And lots of people do exercise, and then there are some, as they age, it's another thing that people say, oh, I never liked it, and I just want to enjoy my life, why are you asking me to move so much? So is exercise another important component in aging well?
Well, absolutely. I think it's a close second or third, and probably second after, well, third, I'll put it third other than diet. But as far as important, I think it's very, very important. I always tell people, when you say, well, should I do resistance exercise or cardiovascular exercise? If I don't want to do much, which is the most important? And I always tell people, okay, the resistance exercise is for quality of life. It's, you build your strength, you build your core, so you can move well, so you can lift well, and basically just function well. And then it's a cardiovascular exercise, which not just my opinion, it's been shown in so many studies, has a dramatic effect upon your health span and your longevity.
So tell me about, you have a program called My Health Span I saw on your website. How does that work?
It's almost arbitrary, but you go to My Health Span, and then you just fill out a quick little questionnaire,
Mhm.
and then that will tell you where your health span is at that moment. And it's, it, like I say, it is arbitrary, but it gives you a starting place,
Mhm.
and then every week, I you automatically get an email with a little telling you to fill out your questionnaire. And there's a different questionnaire with more questions related to your health. You fill that in, and then it will compute where your health span is then, and then there's graphs and everything to show you
Mhm.
your improvements. I developed it to use as motivation
Yeah,
for
sure.
people uh, to stay with the exercise, and I gamified it where you can get badges and medals and all kinds of things.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of fun. It's interesting, and it also is motivating for you to learn more about improving your health span, your health,
Mhm.
and it gets you into the habit. And that's what I'm trying to do with the entire book. Start health habits, that
Mhm.
become part of your lifestyle instead of something that you have to force yourself to do. It's just what you do.
Right. I think that's so important. You know, it's your life to live, right? And you can make these choices, but so if you can figure out what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, um and make the changes accordingly with something you can stick with. That's really the important part, because you could make changes that will last a little while and then gradually you fall back. I know that firsthand with my health conditions. And sometimes, you know, you're feeling sick, and so you fall back with the eating, you fall back with not sleeping enough because you're watching Netflix all night. And gradually you are adding to your health problem without even realizing it, until hopefully not until it's too late. But of course, we can always start over again. But I think finding the lasting changes is really the key. And it seems like you've got some great tools for people. Um, so where can people find this My Health Span and your book and everything that you've got going on?
Well, to find everything, you can go to Aging Well for Life, just like it sounds, just like it spells, agingwellforlife.com. And that will take you to all the information on the book. It will take you to all the information on everything that went into the book, all the different topics. I have pages and pages on with all kinds of resources and links that go to each of the chapters, all the chapter resources, link to other podcasts and other resources that I have used and come to depend on and love for obtaining the information, because I think it's really important to stay abreast of the latest technology, because things are
Absolutely.
changing so quickly,
So
especially when
quickly.
it comes to
Yes.
health span.
Yeah.
It it's very encouraging to me,
Mhm.
and I also like to myself be a model for doing this, because
Mhm.
I've been practicing these health habits for years, decades, and I almost 70 years old. I don't take any medications. I basically don't have any issues going on as far as physically, other than being 70.
Well, that in itself, I think makes you an expert. You're walking the walk and showing people, an example and how they could do this in their own lives. So thank you so much for all your fine work and for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I very much appreciate it.
Miss Teddy here with your Food is Medicine Minute. Normally, I give you a list of foods to stay away from or to incorporate in your daily regimen, but since we are talking about aging well, I am going to give you some foods that you can use for skincare products. We're going to talk about moisturizers, exfoliants, and even a facial hair remover. So for moisturizers, you can use watermelon or coconut milk. For an exfoliant, do not throw away your morning coffee grounds. You can use those as an exfoliant, and you can use lemon and sugar. Make sure you use more sugar than you do lemon so the acid doesn't burn your face. Now, for a moisturizer and hair removal combined, you can use avocado and honey. Yummy. For more information on Food is Medicine, please feel free to contact me at Learn from Teddi on Facebook. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Candis Dyer and this is Mile High News. This week, I am reviewing the article from High Times called U.S. Overdose Deaths Total a Record, 170,000 last year. 2021 is marked by the continuation of the coronavirus pandemic and a rise of fatal overdose linked to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Last year, the number of overdose deaths involving fentanyl and other synthetic opioids surpassed 71,000, a 23% increase over 2020. Deaths involving cocaine also increased 23%, while deaths involving methamphetamines and other stimulants raised by 34%. The nation's epidemic of overdose death continues to rise as the pandemic has isolated those with drug problems and made effective substance misuse treatment and mental health services more difficult to access. It appears that this deadly trend is likely to continue. The article points out that harm reduction saves lives. There is not a single solution to the nation's epidemic of drug overdose, but harm reduction measures, including increasing the access to the drug naloxone, which can reduce the effects of the overdose, is key. Much more work needs to be done in this area because despite the success of the 2 legally operating harm reduction overdose prevention centers in the country, there are still only 2. We need this effort ramped up. Not only that, but though this article was in High Times, they failed to mention that cannabis is an exit drug from things like narcotics, nicotine, alcohol, and more. This has been Mile High News. I'm Candis Dyer. This is The Edge Show. Peace, everyone.
I'm Dr. Brian Nickel, your cannabis expert for CannabisExpertMD.com with a cannabis pairing for The Edge Show. This week I went with music again, at the suggestion of Wendy Love Edge, actually. She said she'd like to hear something about the old jazz musicians. The connection between jazz music and cannabis, it's got a long, long history. Many of the jazz musicians use cannabis as their muse to kind of stimulate creativity, a very necessary component with jazz music, of course. The jazz musicians that use cannabis, they were called vipers because of the hissing sound that cannabis made when inhaling off a joint. Okay, thank you there, Mr. Producer. You might want to wait until after we're done here before you do that. While the ones that used alcohol to kind of stimulate their muse, they were called bottle babies. They had a tendency to get kind of sloppy performances by the end of the night as the alcohol had its effects on them. I picked You're a Viper, actually it's You's a Viper, by Stuff Smith and his Onyx Club Boys. This was a title released in 1936. It was a B-side to the song After You've Gone. Turned out to be a really big hit for the band and stuff. It was one of the most frequently covered songs about cannabis smoking over the years. Now, with You're a Viper, Stuff does his magic on the violin, very talented man, and the boys do a great job of filling in the rest. It really kind of sounds like they all may be vipers. For this, I selected Natural State Medicinal's Gorilla Gum. Gorilla Gum is potent at 21% total THC. How much CBD is there, Mr. Producer?
Trace.
Wrong! There's no CBD this time. I know I'd get them sooner or later. Terpenes show a potent 2.08%. It is myrcene dominant at 0.9%. Beta-caryophyllene and pinene, they tie at 0.37% each. Limoline's up next at 0.23%. A little bit of humulene at 0.10%. Some linalool fills out the rest at 0.6%. Now, Gorilla Gum, this should give you a quick cerebral effect as the THC and the myrcene combine to get you a quick high fast. Beta-caryophyllene and the limonene, they're going to chase the blues away, give you a little bit of a mood lift. The pinene is going to give a bit of focus and energy, while the humulene might keep you out of that Frito bag throughout the song. Now, Gorilla Gum, this should be just the strain to enjoy listening to a lively bit of jazz and cannabis history. One thing I always point out, may cause anxiety in patients that are so predisposed. Little tip for you, you might want to mix in a little bit of CBD flower by adding some CBD in addition to the cannabinoids and terpenes in the Gorilla Gum. You're going to create a strain that's a little more similar to what they were experiencing in the old jazz days there, that tended to have more of a variety of cannabinoids than we see in many strains today. For more information on all things medical cannabis, be sure to check us out at cannabisexpertmd.com. We're also available on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and the new Gab platform, as well as the relevant app under Cannabis Expert MD.
Well, that was some great information about aging well. What do you think about Miss Teddi's film this week?
I like that her mask is edible. I thought that was excellent. I never knew that avocado and honey could just remove hair too. That's kind of scary.
It is a little scary. I have to try it. I don't know. But I was thinking also, oh, sugar. I can't have any sugar, but I could put it on my face.
Yeah, that's right. You can get it really close to your mouth, but just don't eat it. It's just right there. And those masks may help. So hopefully, and again, that was kind of scary. She's like, don't put too much lemon in it or you burn your face. So I don't know if I want to do that. We'll see. I'll have to check that out. Miss Teddi is always good with the foods.
Yes, she sure is. Well, do you have any final thoughts about aging well?
Hey, we're all aging every day. Everyone is not the same as they were yesterday or the day before. And aging gracefully is just that. You got to get those routines. We've been talking about them so much this season, and it is about that stuff. You can age gracefully, and I encourage you to, like always, to take your health as the utmost importance, because that's all you got. You got one body, and it ages every day. So try to hold it off by exercising and eating well.
I hadn't really thought about that. It's so true. I'm older today than I was yesterday. But yeah, I think for me, it's a journey. It's been up and down. I know what I have to do. And I think that's really important, to figure out your plan and figure out a plan that you really can stick to for the most part. We're all, as we age, health issues may come up. But as I've learned over the years, even though I may have certain health conditions, I can manage them in natural ways, look at plant medicine alternatives, look at other healthy alternatives, even diet and exercise, the basic. If you can find something you can stick to with diet and exercise, if you're like me and you have developed metabolic syndrome, you can still turn it around yourself using some of these principles. So there's always time, even though tomorrow you'll be older.
Yes.
Right? There's still time.
That's right.
Well, have a great week, everyone. Bye.
The Ed Show is sponsored in part by the Relevant app, 131 Inclusion Gallery, Irie Bliss Wellness, Lindsay Camp with Synergy One Lending, Off Leash Canine Training, and Green Harvest Health, inviting you to reclaim your wellness.